What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Julien Stoutt, licensed personal trainer, licensed PE teacher, world record powerlifter, special education teacher, health teacher, here to take the fear out of fitness. Guys, let me ask you a question. First of all, let's get the plane up in the air. Class is in session. And now let me ask you this question. If you knew somebody is going to be a problem for you, despite all that they were able to do for you, would you keep them? Would you marry them? Or would you be in a relationship with them? And I'm specifically talking about, like, let's say you meet somebody, and when you meet them, the future is being told to you before you embark on that journey. They're telling you everything that's going to happen. The day that you got into your first fight, the day that you were cheated on, the day that you were abused, the day that you lost everything because they have a drug habit or they have a gambling habit, anything. What if you knew beforehand this was going to happen? Would you still accept them? Even though they were good at certain things that you required them to be good at. Whether it be sex, whether it be provision, whether it be maintenance, whether it be emotional intelligence, whether it be emotional support, any of those things that they're good at. You know that they're good at those things, but you also know it's coming with a whole bunch of problems. Would you keep them? Chances are the answer is no, right? You would rather, if you knew that everybody's going to have problems, but there's some problems that you're just not willing to accept. And if it's going to cost you your livelihood and there's no redemption from that, I know you're not going to keep them. So why is it such a shock to find out that obesity can affect your career? Why is it that all of a sudden we tend to find out that we're shocked that obese people don't get paid as much? That obese people tend to not get hired as much, right? Now, I'm going to let you know a little secret. Now, it's one thing if this person came in shape, they turn around and got obese, they still are clearly capable of doing the job, and now you fired them because they're obese. That might be a problem. You are going to probably get a lawsuit on your hands. But to suggest that you need to be hired because of your obesity, that might be a little bit pulling at the seams of whatever it is, because the problem is you're not looking at it from the standpoint of the employer. Because I just asked you the premise question, right? And the premise question was, if you knew all that was coming, good and bad, knowing that the bad is going to overshadow the good, would you stay in that relationship? Especially if it's going to cost you money, and I already know in your head said no. You're not saying yes. And when I say cost you money, I'm talking about costing you your livelihood. Might lose your house, might lose your car, might take you a decade to recover from that foolishness. Would you stay with them? Would you keep them around? Chances are you wouldn't. Would you even get into the relationship? You probably wouldn't. So, without further pulling, I'm going to read this article. I'm not going to read the whole article. Actually, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Is your weight affecting your career? Answer is yes, just so you know. But start with this. Weight-based discrimination consistently affects every aspect of employment, from hiring to firing, promotions, pay allocation, career counseling, and discipline. Now, these are portions where I feel like personally you're asking for trouble is discipline, counseling or career counseling, and pay allocation. Is the obese person doing an equal job to the person that's not, if not a superior job? So if that person that happens to be obese is doing a superior, if not equal job to everyone else, you don't have the right to discriminate against them at all. And by the way, for those of us who are weaponizing the word discrimination, there's two definitions to the word discrimination. Now, the first one clearly is the unjust prejudicial treatment of different categories of people, especially on the grounds of ethnicity, age, sex, or disability, or size. I'll add size because people are treated unjustly for it. However, the other form of discrimination is the recognition and understanding of the difference between one thing and another. Your bosses are going to discriminate. Hopefully not from the first definition, but by the second. Differentiation, distinction, telling the difference are the words that are used to differentiate. Prejudice, bias, bigotry, intolerance, narrow-mindedness is the first definition of discrimination, right? We don't want the first discrimination. We want the second. And if your boss is using their second discrimination definition, you won't have to worry about why your weight affects your career. All right? Weight-based discrimination consistently affects... I already read that part. All right? So the bias appears to be most prominent during the hiring process, when they are discriminating the differences between one and the other. If I see, now, again, if we are aware of every health deficiency a human being has when coming to get a job, then you have to weigh, is the obesity more detrimental than the alcoholism? Is the obesity more detrimental to the drug addiction? Is the obesity more detrimental than somebody who, say, has cancer or a mental deficit of some sort? You would hire, I would hope that you would hire the obese person over a drug addict. I would hope so. Knowing their history, meaning not saying that you're assuming they're a drug addict. I'm talking about if everybody's stuff can be seen on Front Street Light, obesity can be seen on a person, then and only then will we be able to discern ourselves and discriminate a little bit differently, right? However, when an employer knows a potential employee at the least, and therefore is most likely to be influenced by stereotypes such as fat people are lazy. Now, I know some very hardworking obese people, one namely my wife. I know some others, I'm not going to name them because I don't know if they want to be classified as obese or not. Whether they are or not, it's not relevant. Those people do work hard. Rudolph presented his meta-analysis of 25 studies on a topic at a conference for the Society for Industrial Organizational Psychology in April. So here's the thing. The bulk of the research is known as that the bias tends to be felt most by overweight white women. Now that's a shock. I wouldn't have expected that. I didn't think that was the case, but okay. Who are battling both the glass ceiling and the stigma of being heavy. A 2004 study by Cornell University Associate Professor John Crawley found that when the average white woman puts on an additional 64 pounds, her wage drops by 9%. Now, here's the thing. First of all, she put on 64 pounds. And the other part of it is why you shouldn't discriminate first definition, against a woman who gains 64 pounds is you don't know how she gained the 64 pounds. She might have gained the 64 pounds due to pregnancy. She might have gained the 64 pounds due to medication from pregnancy, or medication after pregnancy, or medication regardless of physical health, right? Mental health. She might have a mental health issue, and that mental health issue might cause her to take medication that might cause her to gain weight. Well, guess what? Now you're judging her harshly, and now you're using first discrimination versus second discrimination. All right? And you deserve to be sued. You deserve to be sued, and you deserve to lose the lawsuit as well. All right? Some studies have shown that overweight white women are evaluated more harshly than overweight African American women, and that African Americans tend to be more accepting of large body types, according to Rowling. And the reason why that is because there's 27 different body types, and we just instinctively know that. Now, at the same time, on the flip side, there is obese. And we all need to move away from that. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, Polynesian, Arab, right? So in 2004, Charles Baum, Middle Tennessee State University, also reported in the journal Health Economics that obesity could lower a woman's annual earnings as much as 6.2% and a man's by as much as 2.3%. That also shows bias towards women. All right? If it's affecting us equally, if we are equal in this society, it should be impressed upon that either men should be affected as much as a woman, or women should be as affected as a man. However, the discrimination level 2, or definition 2, that we're going to talk about now is heavy costs. Employers, of course, are concerned about obesity in the workplace because of the associated price tag. This is why you're being discriminated against, second definition, when you're being interviewed and you're obese. Has nothing to do with whether you look a certain way or not, or that they deem you to be lazy. Many people discriminate, part 2, because obese employees cost U.S. private companies an estimated $45 billion annually in medical expenditures and work loss. Meaning, your obesity is going to cost you time at work. Your obesity is going to cause you medical expenses that your employer is going to have to foot the bill for some of it for. And they don't want to. The damning stats don't stop there. Between 1997 and 2004, obese workers filed twice the number of workers' compensation claims and 7 times the medical costs, and lost 13 times the days of work from work injury or illness compared with their other employees. Okay. According to Duke University Medical Center study of the health records of more than 11,000 Duke University employees, so that means out of 11,000 people, the obese ones took up more days from injury or illness. So meaning, let's say the average person takes about 4 sick days a year. Okay? You're looking at, what is that, 52? Yes, that's 52 days out of the year that they're injured or sick. 52 days is 1/6 of the year. All right. Additionally, the average medical claims cost per 100 employees mounted to $51,019 for the obese, compared with the $7,503 for the non-obese. And there's not much preventing companies from acting solely in favor of their bottom lines. The overweight people may receive some protection under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Michigan is currently the only state that actually bans discrimination based on weight. Now, let me land this plane. Guys, nobody deserves to be level 1 discriminated against. We don't have the right to discriminate against anybody because of their size. Because again, some people are going to be larger than others naturally. Even if it is in the form of obesity, we unfortunately cannot discriminate for that reason. All right? We can't. It's just not right. However, if it's coming down to money, no business can run functionally and allow themselves to be mired by costs to such a degree where they're paying for your medical expenses and your lack of production by charging people more money. So that'll be like me charging my clients an extra $40 more just because I'm obese and I can't be here and pay my medical bills on time. $51,000 in medical claims for obese people, $7,500 for non-obese. You do the math. Okay? That's about $44,000 in difference. As a matter of fact, it is $44,500 and $516 in difference. That's a lot of money. That's somebody's annual salary that is being paid in medical expenses just to work there. And like I asked you earlier, would you be with somebody that in the long run is going to cost you everything you've ever worked for if you knew that coming in written on themselves somewhere, all of what's coming with them? And with obesity, unfortunately, there's a lot of health issues that comes with it. Now, what I will say in closing is, because of the misconceptions of what obesity actually is, employers need to be really careful about who they're choosing in regards to who they assume is obese as opposed to who really is, because at the end of the day, you might be missing out on a good thing. Because that person, especially that woman, and in this case, white women, can actually be in a physical condition to which that they are in actual excellent health. And you are denying yourself the ability for your company to be the best you. So, guys, I appreciate your time. If you like what you heard, go ahead and click the like button. If you hate what you heard, click the dislike button. I'm good either way. However, if you like what you heard, click the subscribe button and click the all notifications so that you get every bit of information that I put out. Have a nice day. Be the best you. Class of Stoutt.